Hey shitheads, TJ here, and this is a Talk Shit podcast episode. I don't even know what number it is. We haven't done many of these, because typically I only do Talk Shit podcasts with real badasses. And yesterday, I met probably the baddest motherfucker I've ever met. And it was just by chance. You know, and that is this guy right
totally
here.
By chance.
Mike Day. Shitheads, introducing Mike Day, Navy SEAL, shot 27 times.
Correct, sir.
In one incident.
All in the right places.
Yeah, you were the number one guy in that 12x12 room in Fallujah.
In the area near Fallujah.
In an area near Fallujah.
Undisclosed location.
You know, you're going to tell your story. I'm not going to get too much into it, but he gets shot 27 times, blown up by a grenade, left by his team. He walks out on his own when he wakes up, gets to the helicopter, collapses, dies on the helicopter?
No, that was on the way back to Germany.
Oh, you died on the way to Germany. Okay.
I was on the helicopter trying to get the air guy off me that was crawling all over my bullet holes. So I was still wide awake there. Yeah. Okay.
Well, you're going to tell that story because I can't tell it for you. I just wanted to set it up that I am honored to be in your presence. You're an absolute miracle and a hero in my opinion. But
it still makes me blush.
Yeah, no, I get it. You know, I won't. I'm not going to suck your dick too hard.
Well, thanks.
So you're at SHOT Show, and you got some things coming up. You got a book coming up.
Yes, we're working on that. Hopefully, coming out in the next year.
Right on. So we're going to talk about that, but before we get into what happened on that day, you know, let's talk about what led up to that. You know, how'd you become a SEAL? You know, what was it like going through BUD/S? You know, keep it simple. You know, but what it's like at BUD/S has been written 15 times, right?
It has. I mean,
but you know, tell us about you, so that we can set up the man before we get to the moment.
I would probably say the way I got to BUD/S was through a series of unfortunate events. I mean, I grew up in a pretty bad childhood. My father really started training me to be a Navy SEAL since I was a little baby.
Right.
I had to thank him for that, but you know, not somebody I need to talk to much anymore.
Okay.
Moved around a little bit. Father was military. Wound up going to junior high school in Virginia Beach area, and wound up actually getting kicked out of high school and wound up having to join the Navy.
Really? What, about
21 years?
17, 18 years
17 years old when I joined the Navy. Had to go get my mom to sign the paperwork for me to get in.
Right.
And probably the best choice I ever made. So
you joined the Navy at 17 years old after dropping out of high school. And how long before you ended up at BUD/S?
You go to boot camp, A school, and then BUD/S. So
you went right on in. You're like,
right
I'm gonna be a SEAL. You know, you didn't start off as a cook or anything like that.
No, it was. I had to go to the A school. At the time, they had drawing rates. That was part of the process, but it's a little bit different now. It's an A school now. They just go straight there. Boot camp, A school. Is BUD/S.
Okay. So let's set this up. How old are you now?
I am 47 years old.
47 years old.
You get in your 40s, you forget that.
Yeah,
you know,
no, I'm right there with you. I'm 44. So you're 47. You went in as a SEAL when you were 17, so that's 30 years.
30 years. I did 21.
21.
Yes.
21 years. See, I'm really bad at math. That's why I never became a SEAL. You have to add and stuff, I think. But, so 21 years as a SEAL?
Minus the time going through boot camp and A school.
All right. And so could you tell us about your deployments and what you did as a SEAL? What teams were you on and that sort of stuff?
Great career. Multiple SEAL teams. SEAL Team 3, 4, 8. Did the Navy parachute team for 3 years. We just did demonstration parachute jumps in like pro baseball games, football games, elementary schools, all kinds of events. That was a blast. And I did a couple training commands. So I think it was 7 different commands I was at over that period of 21 years. Half on the West Coast and half on the East Coast.
Okay. So now we're getting up to that moment that changed your life.
Yeah.
Tell us about that day. Take us into that. And
well, it was a great deployment. We were about at the end of the deployment. There was a couple weeks left. Some guys had actually already left. We were just doing turnover operations with actually Jay Redmond. I don't know if anybody's seen him around. He does a lot of benevolent work. They replaced us. We're tasked for going after an Al-Qaeda cell that was shooting down helicopters. They had shot down 4 helicopters and killed everybody on board. So that was our tasking to go after these guys.
Okay.
We did a helicopter insert into the target area. 4 or 5 kilometer patrol into the target, and I eventually wound up having to be the number 1 guy into a room, and there was 4 dudes in there with 2 AK-47s, an M4, and a pistol. Lost my rifle as soon as I got in the room. They just beat me to the trigger, transitioned to my pistol, and I was falling down the left wall. I engaged and killed the guy down the left wall, landed right next to him, and then started shooting around the room. The second guy had pulled a pin on a grenade, and he was running out of the room to blow up the guys in the train. So he dropped to his knees when I shot him and blew up and knocked me out. Just such a surreal night, man. So I was unconscious in the house. Nobody actually saw me go in the room. My number 2 guy and my number 3 guy were both Iraqi scouts. Number 2 got shot in the chest. He survived. The number 3 guy got killed in the doorway. So those were Iraqi scouts behind us. None of the other American SEALs had seen me go into that house.
Where were they at that moment?
They were, at this point, they're probably stacked on the outside of the door, trying to get in the room. But as they were trying to get in the room, the 2 guys in the room with the AK-47s just sawing up the door jamb.
Right.
So there was no way getting in there.
Sure.
I was unconscious from the grenade blast. They asked for status in the house. I couldn't respond. So they draw off target, and we were looking at getting rid of the target a different way. We were going to drop bombs on that thing. Our training keeps us from dropping anything when we don't have a full head count. So luckily, there wasn't a full head count, and we left the house. When they were departing the house, though, I woke up and I witnessed 2 guys across the room shooting at the guys that are leaving over top of me from across the room through a window. So I wound up re-engaging these 2 guys, run a magazine dry, do a magazine change. I think they realized that they're shooting at me, that I'm shooting at them again, and they re-engage me. And they came around, hits the foot of the magazine, blows the hand grips off this pistol. I have to clear a malfunction, and I had to eliminate those last 2 guys. So by the end of this gunfight, I was shot 27 times. I took 11 rounds to my body armor, and I took 16 rounds to my body. It was both legs, around through my scrotum, separated my vas deferens. Everything still works there. A couple rounds in the butt, both arms, my back. Luckily, I got shot in all the right places, just 2 bones. My left thumb and my right scapula got shattered. When bone gets hit, it changes a lot of stuff. So
right.
It was all soft tissue. I had a colostomy bag for about a year. A stint in the bladder, banged up. About a couple year bounce back. Lost, I think, 55 pounds in that first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Your body just eats itself up when it's trying to go through that kind of recovery.
Hardcore, man. That's just unbelievable. So you're engaging those guys. You eliminate those guys. Now you've been shot 27 times. You've been blown up with a grenade. You're laying there. What happens next? You've eliminated those 2. So now what happens?
Well, I got to figure out what's going on in the house. The job's not done yet. I get up to my feet. I asked for status in the house, and luckily had a couple more Iraqi scouts in the house that couldn't get out because of there's too many bullets going past that doorway,
right.
And they just got stuck back there. I had one of them come in the room. I told them to go on the front door. Don't let anybody come in that front door. I walked deeper into the house. One of our fellow SEALs and a fellow brother named Clark Schwedler, who's a 27-year-old SEAL on a second deployment, had taken around to the back of the neck and bled out on target. Clark was an awesome dude. It's part of the job, and it can happen just about.
Right.
You could do everything right, and you just can't mitigate everything. And that group of guys was the best group of guys I worked with, my last platoon. So there was a bunch of women and children in that room. I had to contain them and quiet them down. Penetrated deeper into the back of the house, and I found 2 more scouts holding on 2 detainees. Left one in that room to watch the detainees, brought the other one out on the women and children.
This is all after you've been shot 27 times.
Yeah, correct.
Make sure you guys are paying attention. He's walking around detaining people and checking on people and stuff. Did you have any idea that you'd been shot?
I knew I'd been shot. I had no idea how bad it was until the guys got back in the house. But so I get the whole house situated, and I try to make comms. Look down at my radio. My radio is just blown up. So I have to go get Clark's radio. I take Clark's radio off of him, and I call the guys back into the house. They re-clear the whole house. Call the medevac in, and Jim helps me walk to the helicopter. So pretty surreal night. I mean, it was so surreal. I don't know if these are memories that I made up, or if they actually happened. I mean, it was like full-on Matrix, which I've had happen before in high stressful situations. Everything just slows down. But this was even more. I mean, it was.
And you had your bell run by that grenade as well.
Bullets spinning, vapor trails coming off of bullets. I could tell you where every bullet impacted. It was. I don't know if I made all that stuff up.
Well, you told me yesterday you didn't even know that a grenade went off.
Nah, when you go unconscious from a concussion, a lot of times you don't remember a lot of stuff like right before or right after. You lose that memory.
The same thing happened when I drink too much vodka.
That'll do it. You got to drink the tequila to get that memory back.
Right, is that how that works?
Yeah.
So you walk to the helicopter, and then what happens?
Well, they fly us out. Another buddy of mine who was there on his first night. It was his first operation. I figured he was flying with me because he was a medic. He had been shot in the arm, and he had a tourniquet on. So that's why he was on the helicopter with me. The air doc cuts all my clothes off. I got my boots on when we land, and I don't think he understood that I had bullet holes everywhere because his knee hit, I think, everyone when he was cutting my clothes off. We land, and I see these two guys jump off and try to open an Israeli litter. Israeli litter needs two dudes with two arms to do it, and I could see my buddy's not able to open it, and the golf cart pulls up. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's for me, so I jump off the helicopter butt naked with a pair of boots on, smack my buddy on the back, tell him last man, and fall in the helicopter.
That needs to be the cover of your book.
What's that?
Just you standing next to the helicopter, butt naked with a pair of boots on.
Oh, we would have to block out too much.
It's big black bars, right? For those giant fucking balls.
Yeah, that round that went through the scrotum shaved one off a little bit, and a little bit lighter.
Right on. Okay. You still walk with a lean now?
No. Sometimes when I'm not paying attention, I might start a circle. Start walking in circles and not know it.
So you're back at the base or the medical?
Yeah. So that golf cart pulls up. I drop on that. They wheel me over, throw me on a gurney. And this is at the point that I realize how many times I've been shot. They throw me on the gurney, and like 7 or 8 people just mob me, and they start rolling me around, and they start calling out all the gunshot wounds. And I remember the last one that they said was, "Hey, there's a gunshot wound to the scrotum," and I literally said, "Don't worry about that one. I already had a vasectomy," and I passed out. Woke up the next day. I guess they had done all the surgeries. I was sitting in front of a C-17 on a gurney, and I can tell you, man, getting on that thing was a mess. I didn't feel like I had been that hurt, and this C-17 had cots 3 high from the front to the back, and I don't know if you would describe what a C-17 is. It's
a big ass airplane.
It's a giant cargo aircraft.
With the door that opens out the back. You guys know. Yeah, our fans know what the C-17 is.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to insult anybody. But that thing was completely full, front to back, 3 cots high, with wounded guys and gals, amputations. It was. So I get on this thing, and I don't know this. I actually get told not too long ago that I actually flatlined on that flight 3 times on the way to Germany.
What was causing you to flatline? Which
I don't know. When I woke up, I had this.
Out internally an arterial bleed, or was it?
Well, I would assume it would probably have been the organs that were hit. So I had a round that went through my stomach, through my intestinal tract, my bladder. I had a stent in my bladder, and I had a colostomy bag for about a year.
Right.
Might have been that. I don't know. Just the sheer trauma of everything. I don't know. Made it to Germany though.
Ramstein? Or Ramstein?
No, geez, you can put me on the spot here. I can't remember.
It's kind of my job.
I know somebody.
Some medical
knows.
facility in Germany.
I cannot remember.
No problem.
I'm drawing a blank right now. I was there.
You know what? if you want to know what medical facility it was, I'm sure it'll be in the book.
Yeah, it probably will. Great hospital. They saved me. Plugged a bunch of holes, sewed me up. Well, I was back to Bethesda within 72 hours. Get to Bethesda, great hospitals. Got to meet a lot of great people. Gary Sinise, all kinds of crazy people show up in that place. Guys like you should show up in there and do some podcasts, maybe.
For sure.
So I was there for about 16 days. Initial estimate was 3 to 4 months. As soon as I found out there was a checklist of stuff I had to do, and I was ready to get out of there.
Right.
Got out of there 55 pounds lighter, and basically lived in my recliner for about 2.5, 3 months. Went back to work in about 4 months.
So you went back to the teams?
Not to an operational shooting position. I went back to teaching a course.
Okay.
And then my last job, which was the most difficult probably, was the operations job. Worst job in the Navy, quite honestly.
Right.
Nobody knows all the crap that you got to deal with when you're doing that stuff. I'm sure you got an operations person.
Oh yeah. Yeah, logistics and all that shit. It's not
thankless job.
Everybody wants to do.
Thankless.
Right?
Yeah.
So let me see. So we've gotten through this. You go into this operations job, and what year did all this happen in?
Well, the actual operation where I got shot up was April 6, 2007. I wound up getting out of the Navy April 2010. And then I took a job at the SOCOM Care Coalition. I wound up being a Wounded Warrior Advocate.
Okay.
As a non-medical case manager for guys that all fall under SOCOM. It's a pretty good job. I think I was actually a better social worker than I was a SEAL.
That's a good thing, They say everything happens for a reason, obviously,
Yeah, sometimes you just know what
you survive in that,
that,
and then go into work in that capacity, that might have been your calling.
It was awesome for me.
What have you been doing since then?
Well, I had to pull away from that job. Quite honestly, it's a lot easier to break things than it is to fix them, and all the people that I work for there, the life situations that they were going through. I mean, this is all very severely injured, wounded, and ill people. We saw the worst combat wounds coming back. Quad amps. You got guys like Taylor Morris, who's an awesome person, who can also help lift you up, because I know that guy has a bad day, but I couldn't help but to be happy around him and his wife. I mean, they were just such great people. But it really got to me. I had to get away from that job, so I went back to teaching what I knew. I was teaching some military free fall for a while. Injuries kept me from opening parachutes a couple times.
Yeah, you told me that yesterday. That you had 2 or 3 incidents of doing where you couldn't, your muscle would spasm in your back. You couldn't pull the parachutes. You had to go to your secondary. How many times did that happen?
Oh, it happened 3 times, and I guess it was time to quit jumping.
Right.
I can fix it though. I got just put a hip throw out on my container, and I've just never owned a parachute. I've got like 2,200 jumps, never paid for a jump, never had a parachute.
Right.
It's all been Navy parachute team, military jumps.
You miss
this
it?
last job, it's my second favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
I had to quit that because I couldn't open my parachute 3 times.
Right.
Had to go to reserve. So I was moved into another part of the organization that I work at, and I teach CQC in South. So I teach tactics.
Right on.
Which is keeping me
highly qualified for that.
Yeah. It's about all I know, really.
Right on.
I kicked out of high school and joined the Navy. I was raised by the SEAL teams, pack of wolves. So
very cool.
Great family.
It's an awesome story, and it doesn't stop there. Yesterday, he was telling us that some of these bullets stayed in him. That they could. You had one in your hip there for a while.
I did. The 2 rounds that were, I knew that I'd been shot twice in the backside. It was in the medical records. Nobody really paid much attention to it, so I assumed that it was taken care of.
Right.
So about 4 months after that incident, I had to go get that stent pulled out of my bladder.
Right, and I think we might have a picture of that we can show.
I can get a picture.
We got a little
of
X-ray
it.
which shows that stent going up in there, and it also shows the bullet.
Yeah, that stent, that was a terrible procedure.
Yeah, that has to go through
the... is about this long with curly things on both ends of it. This procedure happens when you're conscious with no pain meds, and they pull this thing out through your urethra. Have you had that done too?
Yeah.
Yeah, Fat Dark Earth behind the camera is just shaking his head, yeah.
They hold you on the table.
Oh my God.
Yep.
You know, that dude came back in, he was like, I'll be back in to put the Foley in to drain your bladder, and I was like, you're not putting anything else up in there. It took me about 50 minutes to have to go to the bathroom there. You know, they won't let you go until you get it done. So I'm talking to the guy over here holding the cameras.
Right, no, it's okay.
He had it too.
Yeah. It sounds to me like you'd almost rather be shot than have that fucking thing ripped out of your dick.
It depends on where. I mean, I would probably take a shot,
right.
What the outcome of it was. But,
you've actually been shot more times than Tupac, I think.
Who's that guy?
Some rapper.
Yeah,
I'm not
sure. I'd like to meet him.
So, the fascinating story about this bullet that they find in the X-ray when they're doing the catheter.
You got to keep me lined up,
That's
man.
Okay. That's all right. So the human body is so fascinating.
It's amazing.
Was it a couple years later, that bullet moved all the way from like the rear of your hip around by your ass?
Yeah, it was. I was told by Navy medicine for that whole period that it was in my hip.
Yeah.
Well, push ahead to about, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, I'm going through a program and I go to a chiropractor, takes a side profile, X-ray, comes back in and says, hey, there's a bullet in your stomach, literally in the belly fat.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been grabbing this thing for a while. I'm like,
what
is this?
Yeah.
And it was nice. We got it cut out.
So the bullet, the body coated the bullet in like a fatty tissue.
Well, it moved it all the way from my butt,
all the way from his ass, all the way around, and to the belly fat. I mean, from back here, all the way around to there in a matter of what, a couple years, 3 years?
Well, I don't know how long it was there for. I mean, that happened back in 2007.
Yeah.
And I just got this bullet cut out of me like 3 months ago.
Yeah. And then so does he go to the hospital to get that removed? No.
Oh, we got to protect my buddies.
Yeah, we'll protect your buddies. So he has a couple buddies that decide to slice him open. You know, we're at a place. We'll just leave it at that.
Undisclosed location.
And at a non-disclosed location.
On a dinner break.
On a dinner break with a scalpel, and they pull it out with a pair of forceps. We can't show you that video, but I've seen it. And this guy, they pull a bullet out of his stomach, and he starts laughing hysterically.
It's the funniest thing that's happened to me in a while. It's awesome.
Gives you an idea of the character of the man. So, I love your energy, man. I really do.
I love you guys.
And I can totally see where you would be a glowing beacon, you know, for other guys that are dealing with demons and PTSD and stuff like that, you know, because you've been through so much, but yet you're still so positive.
Yeah, and I learned that from like I was talking about, those guys and gals that I work for.
Right, raised by the SEALs.
Well, no, that, and then the Care Coalition job.
Right.
You know, taking care of those people.
Sure.
Watching
what I said is you're a natural at that, though. I mean, it's like, that's
I liked it. They helped me, I think, as much as I helped them. And when people are able to talk about, you know, those demons, because, I mean, the stigma's gone. You know, just go get it fixed. There's ways to do it. And when people like myself and other people talk about it, you know, I had a buddy that was he was pretty close to suicide. He was suicidal for quite a while. He decided he was going to go talk about it to other places, and the mail he would get, or in the emails, hey man, I'm really glad you talked to me that day because I was going for it.
Right.
So it makes it okay. You know, the more of us that talk about it and help each other out, it makes it okay for other people to do it.
Absolutely.
And if one person gets through it, it ain't that hard. Somebody else can do it, right?
Yeah.
So.
Very cool. So let's talk about the book.
Okay.
You're finally going to write a book.
I am. I've been after ever since that happened to me. I'm actually in a handful of books. People have thrown me in little blocks and chapters, and I was depicted in that movie Active Hour. Nobody ever talked to me about that. So I guess it's an interesting story. People keep putting it in books, and
so you were depicted in Active Hour.
Yeah, I'm that dude in the end.
Okay.
That got all shot up.
Right.
I was accidentally invited to the viewing of that in D.C.
Accidentally?
Yeah, I was in Walter Reed for work on the amputee ward, and those guys were up there, and they had a premiere that night, and they invited me to it. And they asked me after the movie, you know, what did you think about your scene? And I was like, you should have talked to me. I made that way better.
Right.
That was nowhere near as bad as it was.
Hollywood has a tendency to do that anyway.
They usually make it look better.
Yeah.
I could have made his scene better.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're going to write a book. What are you going to call it? Do you have a title yet?
There's a couple working titles. We're working with a couple things. I don't know what it's going to be, but there's enough shoot 'em up books out there. I know that the eye catcher for me is that I had been shot up so much, but you know, the life lessons and how I've built my resiliency, I think everybody's trying to figure it out. You know, how do you build resiliency? How do you get past the next trauma, because it's going to happen. No one gets through it clean, right? So my ideas and what I think would help people is what I want to put in this book.
Right on. And can we talk about who's actually helping you with the book?
I don't know.
From what we were talking about the other day, it's definitely a big name, that's made some really good books and some really good movies about those books. Do you think there'd be a chance it goes from book to movie?
Well, if this particular author's trend continues, yeah, I would hope so.
Right on. Who would you want to play you in that?
Chris Pratt did an Iron Man with me.
Yeah?
I like Chris.
Okay.
Didn't he do that, what was that movie, Zero Dark 30? He's already played a SEAL once. He can do it again,
he can do it again. I see you wearing a 7.62 round around your neck.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
This one fell out of my body armor. So
it's not even mangled. It's not mushroomed.
No, it's weird.
That's pretty wild.
It is. I think I have like some kind of quantum mechanic physics thing going on around me. Bullets
that just fell out of your body armor.
Yeah, it just fell out of my body armor. That round hit me inside of 10 feet and 12 feet, and you can see the rifling on it. And the guys were so amazed by it. And when it fell out of my body armor, they took it to a drawer. They had my name engraved on it and Foxtrot Platoon Chief, and it's a heck of a
talisman.
I love this thing.
Yeah.
It reminds me.
What's the other thing hanging there?
This is a Nordic, I guess you call it runes. It's a protection for warriors.
Right on. Right on. And you said the bullet that came out that they took out of you 3 or 4 months ago is completely intact as well, the 9mm.
Oh, correct. Except for the riflings on it.
Yeah.
And then you got the forceps scrapes from when it was slipping off.
Right.
Yeah, we thought that was going to take a couple minutes. Took about 30 minutes to get that out. That whatever that was just wouldn't let it go.
What'd you do to ease the pain while they were cutting your belly open?
We had some numbing agents.
Okay. Yeah. All right. A good deal. So, what's the future for you? You're writing the book.
Yeah, writing the book. I'm looking at working on with some companies. I would love to be an ambassador and come to shows like this, these gun shows, and share my story with people and my experience.
Well, I can
love
tell
to
you.
work for. Go ahead.
Well, Tactical Shit, we have a huge fan base in the military, law enforcement, and shootings community. Basically, all the guys with beards and tactical pants, But we have a big, even bigger following in the industry. So I know a lot of people are going to watch this video, and they're going to see you. They're going to hear that story. They're going to see that you're open to doing ambassador work and working NRA, working SHOT, maybe going to NTOA. This guy's available, and he's got one hell of a story to tell. So I hope you shitheads enjoyed the story.
I love that.
Yeah, isn't it awesome?
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's way better than being called a gear queer, But I've been I couldn't even sleep last night thinking about interviewing you today. But I thank you that you took the time out of your day to do it, and I cannot wait to read the book. As soon as you've got a title and you've got some excerpts or whatever, please get them to us. We'll help you launch it. We'll help you market it. And,
I love my new friends.
Right on, dude. Right on. Here, bring it in here.
All right, bro. I'm getting better at not being scared to death when I do interviews. Those things scare me for some reason.
So here's side story. We ended up meeting because a year ago at NRA, I guess, you took a picture with somebody. You were wearing a Tactical Shit shirt. Was that NRA or was that SHOT?
Somebody sent this shirt to me, and I've been wearing it around for a couple of years.
Right.
And people keep asking me, 2 types of people. They're like, "Hey, that's Tactical Shit," or "Hey, where'd you get that shirt? I need to get one." I'm like, I had no idea. So I'm sitting on the ground over here waiting for somebody yesterday, and this whole clan right here just runs by, and I was like, hey, I got that shirt. So it was awesome. It was a mistake running into you guys.
Yeah, he saw the HPIC, my wife Angie, and Melissa, my assistant, wearing the tactical shit. He's like, hey, you guys, what's that shirt? Is that tactical shit? And so we walk up, and we figured out that Sean, come here, Sean. We're back up at the camera.
Yeah.
So Sean actually saw somebody had sent you something from us, whether it was undisclosed or just being nice and sending you a gift. And Sean saw your name on the shipping address, and he recognized the name right away. And so Sean threw that shirt in there. So you were always like, how'd I get this shirt? I have no idea how I got this shirt.
So our relationship started quite a while ago.
Yeah, very oddly. And so
everything happens for a reason.
So a year ago or so, Ben Mookie posts a picture of you wearing our shirt, and it tells the story. The first guy in room, 12 by 12, shot 27 times, kills everybody in the room. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, holy fuck, that's this, and he's wearing my shirt. And we reposted that, and everybody was like, oh, that's so awesome. What a great story. And then as we're talking out there, and you're telling us about this shirt, I was not putting two and two together. And then you're like, yeah, I got shot 27 times. I'm like, it's you, holy shit. So it is weird how things work out. But
all from a couple of years ago, you sent me a free
I didn't
shirt.
even recognize you because you had facial hair. And Alex says, hey, that guy's name's Mike Day. And I was like, I know exactly who that is.
Right.
So.
Well, more people, y'all need to know who Mike Day is. So, man, awesome story.
Awesome, guys.
Thank you again. Thank you, Victos, for letting us shoot in your booth.
Awesome, Victos.
Yeah, and thank you for all the people that we pissed off by blocking the entire hallway at SHOT Show for the last 30 minutes. We're going to go back to doing whatever we do. I think SHOT Show is almost over.
It is.
It's like an hour or two away from being closed till next year.
Everybody's a bunch of zombies right now, too, so it's about time to end it.
Right on. Good deal. So, shitheads, we'll see you at the next podcast. Talk shit. We'll talk to somebody else cool, but I doubt it'll be as cool as this one.